Hey, welcome, Pat. I know it's just us today, but we're going to do a market update and just talk about one interesting topic, which I think is very relevant for us because of yesterday. Yeah, well, you got to meet with a buyer. So
Oh yeah.
before we get into that, we're going to talk about market updates and what's kind of happening because well, it's interesting. I kind of look in the year over year, we do have a pretty good climb in pending homes. We also have a climb in homes for sale and a sold homes one. So what does this show us about the naysayers of the market crashing?
I
And
mean, the market's still pretty strong, right?
yeah.
Let's just take for instance our last five houses that we listed, in the last month or two. Did any of your houses not receive offers?
Nope. All of them.
And did all of them receive more than one offer?
No, we had one. Remember that one? No, actually, that's not true. It did eventually get two offers, just one was much later than the other. Uh,
Right.
so we did get multiple offers. And even though that one was priced a little bit on the higher side, they didn't really listen to our pricing strategy on that one.
Yeah. But generally, like all of our properties are receiving multiple offers. Um, I know all of mine and all of yours that we've done, apart from that one kind of oddball property that we had,
Yeah.
all received offers within 7 days, all over asking.
So what I think is interesting here, right, is we're seeing a general climb, which is kind of normal, right, for our springtime. But what I think is abnormal from this market to, from a year ago, I feel like rates were hovering more around the six under seven, and now we're above seven.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at the year over year from 24 to 23, we're up in homes for sale. We're up in homes sold. We're up in pending homes. And if we look at that at average price per square feet, let's see what's happening in the average price per square feet. And it's the same thing. We're up 3.8% from a year ago. So it's still a strong market. And let's finish up with just months of inventory because this is a good indication of what our market looks like. And it is kind of generally known that anything under 2 months of inventory is a seller's market. Anything between 2 to 4 months of inventory is a stable market. And anything, 4 months or greater is a buyer's market. And we can see we've been in a seller's market. This is months of inventory, 24 or 2 years. And this is our date. So we're still in a solid seller's market, really. I mean,
Yeah.
that's what's showing us.
I mean, just for Roseville, if you look at it, the median home sale price is around 625, and so that's still 4.2% increase compared to last year at the same time.
Yeah.
So, even though people are like, oh, every year for the last 2 years, right? It's like, oh, the market's going to crash. The market's
I'm
going to
waiting for
crash.
the
But
market to crash. I'm waiting.
uh,
So are
uh,
we, right?
right,
We're
right.
ready to help all the sellers that need to be sold quickly because the market's crashing, but it sure doesn't seem like that is really the case
Yep.
that we're seeing based off of the numbers. And this is, of course, the tri-counties, and we could shift that
Mhm.
down into even just a symbol, Placer County or even city, but we see very similar graphs. And I think that's, it's a good sign of a healthy, strong, growing market.
Mhm.
There you go. What I wanted to talk about next, you met with, his name was John, if I remember right? From
Yeah, I
yesterday.
met with John.
John sent us an email. So you had scheduled you a showing on Creek Bank yesterday. You met with him, good guy. He had accolades to say, right? He said, "Hey, thanks for sending Pat." Pat was great right here. It's perfect. Pat was great. But he wanted to let you know he had aspects that was bothering him. He
Hmm.
was uncomfortable signing the buyer representation and buyer compensation agreement. And the reason that I'm pulling this up, right, is here is the truth about the NAR settlement agreement and what's coming down the pipe. And one of those things was, changing business practices. And we agreed, or NAR agreed, that we need to tell people before they tour the home that they need to enter into a written agreement. So I'll read it word for word. NAR has agreed to create a new rule requiring MLS participants working with buyers to enter into a written agreement with buyers before the buyer tours a home. Right? So that was the practice you tried to put in place yesterday, right?
Right. Yeah.
What was your
Yeah.
experience?
I was trying to do an experiment on, as an average agent, if I follow exactly what NAR tells me to do, how's that gonna work?
So what was the client's experience, right?
Right. So from a client standpoint, and I'll tell you, when I met with him, I told him, I said, because of the lawsuit, and I tried to explain it exactly as the lawsuit explains it. And I said, here's what it says. They would like to have you sign this before I show you the house. And he was like, whoa, this is like, what's that mean? I'm like, well, for me, it means I'm allowed to show you the house and I'm not going to get a slap on the wrist.
Yep.
And for him, he's like, oh, that's a little scary. Like, he said, I just want to see the house. And I said, I just want to show you the house. So it, from a client standpoint, it is not a good, it's not good.
It's not a
They
good
don't like
practice,
it.
right?
Yeah.
It gave you no reason to work with an agent, but it actually put up another barrier, right? It's
Exactly.
like, well, the client doesn't know you yet, especially in this case, right? We've learned from Todd Walters many times, we need to make it easy and fun to do business with us, and NAR is making it hard and confusing and adding barriers to do our job. That's basically what NAR is doing for us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I do think this is a good practice. Don't get me wrong. We've encouraged buyers to have buyer broker agreements, have their fee up front with their buyers. And we've been practicing that for 3 years now. We're successful at negotiating and collecting our own fee, unlike others. Well, I think that's fantastic. So what could we do? What we discussed this earlier. What's the best way to handle this? Because this obviously didn't work and resulted in an email to your broker, me, saying, I wasn't comfortable with this. By the way, I'm going to respond to him similarly about what we're discussing. Yes, we agree. Right. We don't like this. We think the changes are going to cause hesitation and ripple effects. But it is something that NAR is asking us to do. So we're working out better ways to do it. Let's talk about our better ways to do it.
Well, I think it goes back to what we've been doing for the last several years anyway. We have our VIP buyer agreement, and that document, what that does is it tears down the walls that buyers have these preconceived notions of what we do and how it operates. It answers all those questions for them, takes those walls down, and lets them know that we're on their side and that we're working for their benefit.
Yeah.
And so, if indeed we do need to have them sign a document that states what our commission is and that they're willing to allow us to represent them, the VIP agreement does that. And so it fulfills that, and it actually brings value as opposed to scaring the bejesus out of them.
Yeah.
And making them want to run away.
Yeah, because really that's the feeling he's giving me in the email too, and it sounds like that's the feeling he even gave you as you tried to use the 14-page state form that they'd like us to have signed before. Hey, you want to see this house? Sign this form, otherwise you're not getting in. I mean, definitely holding them hostage as opposed to guiding them and encouraging them and teaching them all the things that we shoot for, right? We're definitely trying to elevate life, where that practice seems to be, a hold hostage style practice, right? Kind of get in there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well,
Now, did he have any trouble once you kind of explained to him that, hey, this will be for, we'll make it for this property only. And as you started to present some of our VIP benefits, our guarantees, what was the change in the experience there?
Yeah, I mean, that was something that we ended up kind of laughing about it, because I was like, I don't really agree with it either. I don't think we should have this form. Yeah. But as we talked, it was just kind of like, yeah, we both agreed that neither of us liked that. And then the conversation went a lot better afterwards. So,
yeah. Well, and one of probably the biggest changes, and he even noted it here, that it was presented as if it was required due to the recent lawsuit, which, yeah, it's exactly true. And you explained that the representation would just be for this house, and it wouldn't be made to be an enforced agreement. So he was that's why he sent it out there. I wanted to make sure that this isn't an enforced agreement. And what we mean by that is, in our VIP buyer agreement, right? There's no risk.
No.
You can cancel anytime. So we're taking what NAR is telling us to do, we're designing it, putting it in a way that doesn't scare off the clients, that really makes us advocates for them, as opposed to withholding what they want, is just to see the property, until they are forced to sign an agreement with subpar people, subpar agents, subpar anything. And NAR's not teaching any of that stuff. So that's what we teach, right? That's what we teach here at Your Home Sold Guaranteed. And I think this is a pretty cool mastermind. Any tidbits do you think you should add based off your experience from yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, just working with buyers, that's the main thing that we want to do, is we want to make sure that they know what value we bring, because that's what it's about, is delivering value to the customer, as opposed to being a door opener who opens doors for people. Yeah. And so once we had the chance to talk as we were walking through the house and looking at it, that's the focus, right? Yeah. And that's really the reason why you know me, I'm not a huge fan of NAR. Yeah. I don't think they provide any value to us, and really this whole issue that we're facing, and the reason why we have to fill out all these forms, is because of bad business practices that they push out. And we all know that. So
yeah, did you notice the timestamp on this, by the way? So when I woke up, and I'm up about 6, and I didn't see this till about 7 a.m., my heart kind of stopped. I'm like, wait a minute. I know Pat. And I was kind of like taken back a little bit. The only reason I was taken back is because it was, presented as a requirement. And I know you well enough that if you were presenting our VIP agreement, that I wouldn't have got that email. And so it is kind of interesting that you took it. Hey, let's test NAR's way.
Yeah. Well, you know me, I like to see how things go.
Yeah. So we know how that's going to play out, especially for less skilled agents, right? The agents that don't know how to handle this, it's just going to upset the public. Eventually, they're going to hate us even more, right? It's like, okay, well, I don't want to deal with them if they are forcing me to sign agreements that I don't even know if I want to work with that person to like that, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's different for a buyer's agent, and this is where that comes into play. Is most of the time with buyers, you don't know them beforehand.
Yeah.
Unless they're a referral or part of your sphere. Yeah. But if you're just going after general buyers or you're buying leads or whatever, you don't know this person until you see them at the house. And so to come in and be like, all right, sign this document, you know nothing about me, there's no value built, other than you want to see this house.
Yep.
So,
well, we're going to be doing these. These are our mastermind meetings. We're going to be doing them every Thursday. Just tidbits that you and I and anybody else that wants to join in talk about things that are happening in the market updates real quick, and then things that we're noticing and how to do them. Practice better so that one, we can help our clients better, and two, we can set, negotiate, and collect our fee as NAR keeps taking it further and further down with no help to us. So if you want to know more, feel free to reach out to us directly, and we'll see you at the next one.
all right, thanks.
You bet.